4 weeks ago I had a dream.
Yeah, this dream was very, very intense. It was about you actually somehow wound up in a David Letterman show, and because of all your piano playing, of all the years that you put into it, what you had to do, the hard work, effort, just the hours, even of like non-sleeping, just to where you pretty much wound up today. Somehow, the wording got around, seeing enough YouTube videos, and somehow the person that it got around to that wound you up in a place where you never thought you'd be at is David Letterman. And somehow he found a way to get a hold of you, invited you onto a show. It was specifically set up to where it was more than just a piano. It was on the show.
Oh,
And this piano,
what did it look like?
it was not your typical piano. It was designed to where it was like purple lavishing with like kind of like gold trimming pieces. It was something that you would think that was in some type of fairy tale book of like pianos, like, and you wound up on the show and you had actually very specific clothes to where it was like tux kind of clothes.
Wow,
Um,
real formal.
yes, it had like some purple and like green kind of like flakes, even like your tassel shoes. It was like a cream color with like it had purple like engravings with like your initials on the shoes,
Uh-huh.
and even your glasses were like almost like sparkle glitter type gold sunglasses. And
I had glasses on in the dream. Wow.
yeah, and this was something that became very, very huge because this dream also had a lot more latched onto it than just the piano. Like David Letterman somehow wanted to do something, not just because of the piano, but he found somebody that it got you to somehow show business. He purchased a house for you, a condo that's in Coronado with a
In Coronado?
piano, yes, with a piano inside of the condo.
Mm.
And he specifically purchased a home for you, the piano as well, and he somehow had it placed in the condo. He paid, these specific movers to put it in to the condo for you, and somehow, like, he auditioned you to agents, like 12 shows, plus, like, several other shows to where that piano became something priceless because that piano became it's not just a masterpiece piano, but the way it was designed, specifically made, um, just the craftsmanship, everything that it took to build, make, and create the piano was something extravagantic beyond its wildest. Like it's basically like it shot its way through the hemisphere, and the fact that it landed, you know, towards Plymouth Rock, where once you sat on the piano
Piano?
seat itself, um, the piano seat also was not your typical wooden piano seat. Like this was like a marble rock type of like purple with green and gold. Like it was something that easily would have been over the $20,000 price range, just the seat alone.
Mm.
So the piano is well over $300,000 for this piano, and somehow like you wound up in several things from like magazines. I mean, like Times Square, and it changed everything because your condo was also not just in Coronado, but it was placed like as close to the beach in Coronado as
Right near the
possible.
beach. Wow.
Yeah, and somehow it was a revolution because from day one, ever since like the world of piano has been instilled in your heart, since the very beginning, since you even first got a chance to sit down and play, or just to hit a piano keynote, all of that led to this empire, and it's definitely been worth its payoff. And I'm happy to share that with you.
Well, what did you think after you woke up in that dream that you had 4 weeks ago?
I didn't
What were
really,
you feeling? What were you thinking when you woke up?
I didn't want to wake up out of it. Honestly, it was very difficult to wake up out of that because um, that to me is beyond a priceless moment. Like that's something unforgettable. And in fact, something told me that something big was also going to become much more than just a show somewhere, or even if it's at, say, one of Scripps hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be much more leading and continuously at other places. And one thing I find very special about your your style and your technique is that you just never know who or what cameraman is going to want to wind up where you're at, and who's going to want to ask you, are you ready to make a serious move, especially if it's contract related? Because these things happen for so many people. And I think that's one huge reason why a lot of people, with especially that are pianists and talent like that, can go pretty far with it.
Because remember when you met me, I had told you my dream when I was 18. I wanted to be a concert pianist.
Correct, correct, yeah. And it's amazing how far that went. And one thing I like about that too is that it wasn't something that was just words being talked about. Like it went beyond your words to where over 20 years, like the blood, sweat, and tears, just to sit there and play, just to be even accepted to allow, you know, just to
Yeah, because as a kid, I was made fun of. Oh, boys don't play pianos; only women do. Now, how stupid is that? I mean, Beethoven, all your well-known pianists
absolutely.
and pianists who play rock and roll. So how stupid is that? But kids used to always make fun of me. Oh, you're playing the piano. Only girls play piano, not boys.
I think that's quite stupid because many icons over the years, especially hundreds of years, where their name, like, it remains in the history of not just classical music,
Hmm.
but I mean, it's there to be remain. I mean, forever.
Well, I never told you this, Michael, but when I was 11 years old and I learned how to play the piano, my parents were the one, my mother particularly, is the one that wanted to encourage me playing the piano because 11, I didn't have the best self esteem. I was in special ed, so kids made fun of me being in special ed classes, being segregated from regular kids, being called retarded. And don't forget the war, World War II wasn't that far from the 60s, so people still resented the World War II. So being made fun of, called Jap, being made fun of, called, oh, you're just playing the piano, you're such a sissy.
And one thing that I admire about you is that these people didn't really understand what type of iron bull you were, like to break through that and to still believe in what you believe in. It's amazing to even just hold on to that. And next thing you know, it's like you're recognized. There's so many people, the friends you've made.
Yeah, it did take a while. Like in that very beginning at 11, when we're 11, we're just starting our stage of growing. And so my self-esteem was low. So my mother and grandmother wanted me to learn. Well, I'm sure you recollect yourself being 11. You probably wanted to do other things. You're stubborn and you want to do other things. And
Sure.
it was a hard struggle. I was stubborn. To get me to teach me to learn that, but after a while, I started just getting into it. It's just after a while, you get to that initial stage and then you get into the music.
Sure.
And so when I was 12, it was a whole different year. In 1969, it was 11 and 12. I was 1970. All of a sudden, I started learning and hearing the songs that my teacher would play at school in the classroom, and she was amazed that I could play them exactly the way she could.
Yes. And most people, when they say get in where you fit in, from the very beginning, like the piano has been part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if anything, as ridiculous as it may sound, you might as well just say that the piano is like your birthmark in a way.
It is, because let me go a little bit further. Before I was 11 years old, there was a piano at my grandmother's house, at my mother's house, and every time we got together for Christmas or the holidays, we ate food, we got together. My grandmother was always at the piano, and everybody would be singing.
Yeah.
That's how it was before I was 11. When I was in kindergarten, now listen to this. My kindergarten teacher was admired. She had me sitting on the piano bench, and the kids were listening to me because I was playing little tunes on the piano. I don't really remember that too much, but I do remember sitting at the bench because I could play by ear, and the kids were listening to me, and they were all attentively. That was in kindergarten in 1963.
Wow. Yeah. From the beginning.
She had me be a kind of a leader there. First grade teacher, which flunked me. We had music because I always was eager to. And she'd look at me like, yes, we're going to have music. And she's the one that flunked me. I told you, they put me in special ed because she felt I wasn't normal.
See, one thing too that I'm sure many people that love the sounds that come out of a piano, many people wouldn't think of it this way, but a piano and the notes, everything that it takes to create a piano, there's anything that's real and alive.
Mm-hmm.
There's a brain and a heartbeat to everything.
Yes.
It comes from somewhere. It's linked onto something, and
They're
it
linked.
goes somewhere. Feelings, the emotions, that things, even things that we don't understand. Anything that's alive and real in this world, animals, for instance. I mean, plants, but even like in the ocean, it's like whales, for instance. It's crazy to think that piano sounds have something to do with whales.
And it has to do with our endorphins.
Most definitely.
And our endorphins are affected by the sound and the producing of that. After producing of sound, that's where art comes in.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you were right. Birthmark of piano and music have been from the birth. I remember 2 years old crawling in the front room and hearing my parents had the radio on. I always heard some kind of music on, or on the record player. There was a radio or a record player or something. Always I heard music. And then we went to school and we had song fests. We sang songs in school, and I would remember. Another reason my mother wanted me to learn to play the piano was because she knew I could play by ear with one finger.
That's remarkable. That's quite remarkable.
I could play with one finger by ear. So that's why my grandmother taught me how to read music, and I learned how to play the piano at age 11. So by the time I was 12, I was already learning other songs from school, and my teacher couldn't figure out how did he learn it so fast.
And I think one thing that's very special about that is that the piano, it's not just a work of craftsmanship, but you're storing the whole entire source of the whole entire thing inside of you. Because to be able to have a storing device, a memory bank where
I could memorize a song.
Correct.
Because my grandmother was very happy and pleased that I could memorize a song. I'd read it, practice at it, and within time I could memorize many songs. By the time I was 13, I could already memorize 10, 11, 12 songs.
Right. And not just is that something that means something to you, but this is something that your life is based on.
Hmm.
Upon it's
And when I was in the choir in junior high, oh, that was something else. I also could read music, so I had the advantage. I could read the music. It's a choir music and the back accompaniment part. So Mr. Robertson, who was my choir teacher in junior high, he was impressed. So were the
yeah,
teachers. So I remained in junior high choir, seventh and eighth grade. Now, eighth grade, I was integrated with regular classes, so I wasn't in special ed so much. And I was in the choir, and I also, they actually, Chet up here at school in Santee, they wanted to have a talent contest. It was on TV, local news at the time, and they had video TV'd us on the talents that students have in junior high. I was one of them playing the piano for this student fair and talent fair.
yes. I think that's truly remarkable. That's really something special. And every single time when you played on a piano, no matter where you were at, it's amazing that that's definitely something that your life is not just based on, but it's in your blood. You
I
know,
believe it is. I believe whoever my biological parents were, I think it was installed in my genes or my DNA, or it was biologically given to me as well as a gift from God.
yeah,
God definitely instilled that. I believe a gift.
I strongly believe the same thing because it's like the piano is more than an instrument. It has a lot to do with the way people feel about certain pictures in the world,
And
colors, cartoons.
events,
Yes.
personal things in life.
Oh, yes, many
And
things.
that's one reason I love music so much because it relates to all things in our lives. So then in high school, of course, I was in the high school choir, you know. And the first year being a freshman, I was in regular, out of special ed, so I was in regular classes for the 4 years. First year in choir, the students were admired by the piano playing. And we're talking about my age. I'm what, 15, 14, and they're 14. We're freshmen, and I'm in the choir. I'm a tenor at the time.
Yeah.
And so even the director was quite impressed. My choir director, she was impressed I could, you know, reasonably play well, and I was able to learn every choir piece
Yeah.
automatically. Well, there was a struggle, downfall of rejection because I was in between 14 and my voice was cracking and all that. So I was taken out of the choir. Well, that was totally devastating to me, being taken out of the music class. You can imagine that felt like. What did I do? Instead of pouting and being depressed about it at 14, for 6 months, I worked on improving my voice because I could read music and I could play the piano. I went ahead and improved my voice.
Right. Something else I'd like to share, which I
Sure.
think is really awesome with that, is that when it comes to all these different variations of sounds that the piano can definitely put out, is that when you're in lock with something, when you're in tune with something like that, it's amazing that you swim within it to where it's infinity miles. Like there's no such thing in a way as like hitting the bottom at 300 feet or 3,000 feet, or 300,000, 3,000,000 feet. Like the more that you swim inside into the sound, the deeper you go. And I think that's really very, um, not just creative in its own way, that there's something very real alive that allows you to go in it, but um, it's almost like it's its own home where you can always live in it, where there's no such thing that there's not enough room, because the more
It's
you
infinite.
ride.
It's endless. So it's a comfort zone that's infinitely unlimited.
Correct,
So no
yeah.
matter what one goes through in their life, I think
Yes.
that's what you're saying.
most definitely. It's definitely something where the door is never locked.
And so I didn't allow the door to lock. It just was infinitely, because I went to the choir Christmas concert that year, my freshman year,
Yeah.
and I sang for the accompanist in one of the in the piano practice rooms. I still went in the piano practice room. She said, "Well, you have a good voice for a young man." Well, my choir director said, "I don't know about that. We'll see." She kind of made it look. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. And so I got back in the choir my sophomore year, and she said I had improved quite a bit, but she was a very fussy director. So I had to put up with a lot of endurance with people throughout the years.
Yeah.
She wound up, though, giving me a music trophy award in my senior year. I wish I still had it. It was a red and white, blue trophy, music with a treble clef in gold
Oh.
in 1976, which was bicentennial year.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And all the years I played at Sharp Grossmont Hospital. When I got hired at the hospital in 1979, I was 21 at Sharp Grossmont Hospital. I was only 21, Michael, and I'm in physical rehab because one of my friends just showed me around, and they have a grand piano. I'm playing on it, and oh my gosh, the director, now he's the board of directors of Sharp, Bob Yaris, he used to be in charge of physical rehab as a director. Well, now he's a big shot now in the board of directors of Sharp corporate board. But back then, he said, "Oh, do you remember the old tape recorders back in the 70s?
Oh man. Yeah.
Audio cassette." He said, can I tape record you? It was almost like a minute of being famous. Can you mind if I record you?" He turned his tape recorder off. Somebody else wanted to turn on their tape recorder on.
Yes.
I was playing the piano in physical rehab.
Wow.
And I do this every week at break time or after work. I play in physical rehab at Grossmont Hospital for years. Let me tell you, there was a patient one time. She had family over to see her, and they were from New York and back east. Well, all the family members and friends came, and one played the violin, the viola. I played the piano, and we were doing a sing along for almost like 2 hours, 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And everybody was enjoying that, And then I became recognized, an article by Grossmont Hospital, being the piano player there. Then mental rehab wanted me to play, and then administration wanted me to play for Cancer Foundation and for the Heart Foundation, and there was just all these administration wanted me to play for the Christmas holidays.
See, I find that something that's truly, um, not just inspiring, but there's so many, like all these places are like the ingredients to your recipe. Um, because there's so many places that you wound up at to be able to play, the piano. And
Especially at the hospital.
correct. And the more ingredients that you have to your recipe, you have such a huge recipe that you've created.
And even at Grossmont Hospital, it got to the point wherever they had someone pass away, they'd have me play for a memorial service, or they'd have me play for a talent show, or one time administration had me go up to the Presbyterian Church up at Mount Helix and play for the seniors. Okay, so administration always could count on me playing for hospital extracurricular activities.
That
United Way, Chad, for Cancer Foundation, Heart Foundation, Nurses Week. They had me play for Nurses Week. Departments always have recognition of departments. They would have me play for that too.